Cheerio, friends. David Nuno, Billy Liucci here for TexAgs Rewind, presented by T-Mobile. They want to remind you guys to visit T-Mobile.com/acrossamerica to learn how you get value and coverage with T-Mobile. Billy, we're going to have a video at the end of the week breaking down spring practice, but day one observations from you. Anything. You can give me just a 15-second version of what
15-second
20,
observation.
30 seconds.
Just good to have him back out there. The energy was off the charts. You can just see, again, we say this every year, but it's true every year. They keep going up and up and up in terms of what they look like as a collective out there on the football field. They look more and more like the Bamas and Georgias of the, not just the conference, but of college football every season. Elite recruiting, and that's 12 new guys in. A bunch of them looked really good. That's some veteran players, and that, by the way, that was without Bryce was out there. He was out there taking it in and participating a little bit, but yeah, they keep taking the next step, and I loved watching Durkin and Adazio, the new coaches. Again, I go back to the word energy, and there was a real sense of urgency out there. It felt like a team that's saying, we're not planning to go out and drop 4 games again this year.
Yeah.
And something's got to change, and it's going to start with the way we practice every day from day one, period one, rep one, and that was very evident to me.
All right, we'll have that on the Rewind. Go Hour had OB talking a little bit about it. We had Logan Lee, as you like to call him.
Slogan and 902 and Olin.
That still makes me laugh. Pat Henry, my good buddy on the show. Love talking track and field with him. And, of course, this guy was on the Rewind. All right. Good morning, Olin.
Good morning. Isn't it funny that Anthony Lucas, which every program in the country would want, is almost forgotten until you see him?
He wasn't forgotten yesterday, that I can tell you.
Because so much attention was paid to Walter Nolan and Shamar Stewart and Malik Seela, and it just goes on and on. Gabriel Brownlow Dindy.
Just looking at that guy, it's like it was that same reaction, and he's still young, right?
Yeah,
Michael
right.
Clemens was a man. Like, what is he, 22, 23 years old? Anthony Lucas is obviously, 18 years old, and he looked like, that level of guy, just stood out. Like, he looked huge. And the other one, as I mentioned in my lead, Baylor Cup.
Yeah.
He's always had the look, but he looked a little bit
Has
more
he
impressive.
Add a little more mass?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. he looked, and Jake Johnson, that's the man right there.
Is it?
Yeah, like it's, again, spring ball, and Olin, you can help set the table here. We don't get to see like real things. When I say that, like, they don't want anything that could be captured on social media to be sent out to other teams. That's how all NFL teams and college football teams are operating these days, right? That all being said, I saw some speed, I saw some size, and I saw some learning, and I certainly saw some tone setting there from the coaching staff.
Yeah, and that's all we're going to see, for the first, 15 to 20 minutes.
Yep.
But, we talked about yesterday, you can't see how they're going to compete against each other and how their techniques and things like that. But you can definitely see size and you can judge speed. And apparently there was a lot of size and some good speed to be judged. By the way, I want to throw this out right quick.
You can throw it.
So
Take
this
your time, please.
This is what frustrates me about media. So I'm on a radio in Birmingham yesterday, and the guy asked me, when is Jimbo Fisher going to be able to take this A&M program past the 9-win plateau? And I said, well, I kind of think he already has. Yes, they won only 9 games 2 years ago, but they only played 10. And if you look at it in percentage, anytime you win 90% of your games, that's an amazing year. And the guy goes, yeah, well, I guess if you put it, that way. I said, well, what other way is there to put it?
Yeah, they look at it. You know what they do is somebody who doesn't follow the program, they go to Wikipedia. Oh, he won 8 games last year, only won 9 the year before that. Pff, this guy's getting paid this, without really thinking for a moment, taking a step back, like COVID season, a full SEC schedule. They played 10 games. He only lost to Alabama. Hello, let's go.
There's no point in beating the dead horse, but I'm going to beat it anyway. had A&M's, had it not been for COVID and A&M's schedule not rearranged, the Aggies probably would have been in the playoff. They would have won 4 non-conference games, which they didn't play any. Mm-hmm. They would have had to play Florida, which they did play and beat, or Tennessee, which they did play and beat on the road. And they would have played Alabama later in the year, which I'm not saying they would have beaten Alabama.
No, but it just.
But they probably would have been more equipped to compete with Alabama.
How many non-conference games would they have had? 3?
4.
4. Okay. So, yeah.
So if they still lose to Alabama in a real year, they're 11-1 just going into the bowl game or the playoff. So it dumbfounds me that you could come back and say, well, Jimbo Fisher can't get them past 9 wins. They played 10 games.
And I will also say, look, I know they hired him to go past Alabama. That's why he's here. Mm-hmm. And that's the goal. And I think we're trending in that direction. And they just beat him last year. But I don't care who you are. Most teams in the SEC West would be in the same position or worse. Not most teams, we say, would be worse off than A&M has been during this run.
Well,
is Baylor winning 10 games in the SEC West?
No.
Is Texas winning? Is Oklahoma winning? No, they're not.
When you're in the NIT, when you know you've missed the March Madness, the big dance, and you're in the NIT, that first couple of days feels like you're in the consolation bracket. Man, I should have been up there. We should have been doing this.
Does it depend on the team, though? Like, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, but like, if you weren't even expected to make the NCAA tournaments and you were in the NIT, there's a different, like, Kansas goes to the NIT. It's like a bowl game they don't care about.
Absolutely. But with the confidence that these guys have, that Buzz has instilled in his team, they feel like they should be an NCAA team. And so it will feel like they're in the consolation bracket. For the fan base, for the Texas A&M basketball fan base, A&M making the NIT is still a step forward. It's not a step back.
Absolutely.
It's a step forward. But I guarantee you, in the eyes and minds of the players on this team, it feels like they're in the consolation bracket if they were to go that route.
Billy gave some really wise words last week, and hard for me to say that out loud, but Billy Liucci,
which Billy?
Our Billy.
Oh, okay.
He gave me some pretty wise on this show. I think it was on the show, or we were just talking randomly. It both happened. Where he's like, sometimes we just have to sit back and evaluate at the end, because we do these evaluations, and we have talk radio. We have to fill 3 hours, but we do these evaluations. And if you would have done an evaluation of the A&M football team after the Mississippi State game, you'd be thinking to yourself, they may not win a game the rest of the way. If you would have done an evaluation,
which we were all
that was a thought by people. Although I did say we're going to beat Alabama, and I know someone on the board is going to say, yeah, but you said that on accident. No, I said it on real, and then I wrote it on accident. But that's a different conversation. If we would have done an evaluation after during the 8-game losing streak, we were all saying, I don't know if they're going to win another game.
Which we did.
Right?
Yes.
But here we are, a chance to go to the NCAA tournament, a chance to maybe make a run in the NIT, a chance to have a fun SEC tournament. So at the end of the year, no matter what, it is a step up from last year. In the middle of that 8-game losing streak, you could have said it wasn't a step up.
No, I agree with all of that, but I'm pretty confident that I can say that this year is a step forward no matter where they end up.
Yep.
No matter what happens with postseason, no matter what happens in the conference tournament.
But after this run, though, right? Like, that's what I'm saying about the totality of the year.
Yeah, the totality of the year, I think it was a step up in comparison to where they were last year. Now, obviously, last year they were horrible.
Is it a step up from where they were 2 years ago? Where
I
they
think
were
so.
hot heading into the tournament?
I think so.
Let's start off with Brandon Miller. Kind of remind us of his journey here to being one of the best.
Well, he's really a highly recruited kid out of Missouri, and last year at this time, we were just talking about it, and he didn't qualify to the indoor championships. That's what I'm saying about the indoor championship, and yet he comes back in the outdoor championships and he's second. Mm-hmm. It tells you how the growth of an athlete is, and that's what this is about: is continue to grow indoors so that you can be competitive outdoors. He had a tremendous year last year, and finishing second outdoors. and now he leads the country indoors. So that's the kind of progression we like to see, and he's ready to run. He's healthy, and he's got a smile on his face, and I think he'll run well.
I was going to say the few times I've been around him, just seems to be a very happy guy who loves the sport.
Brandon is one. Sometimes there's people have, they have some on competitive days they let some things get the best of them, and that's what we as coaches we work on all the time. You can't be that person. You can't be the negative talker to yourself about anything. And when it's time to step on the track, Brandon is not that kind of guy. He's a competitor. He puts them. He gets after it from the get-go, and he's a positive human being.
How do you reinforce that with athletes? Because the self-talk, it's not like people want to do it. It's just it happens.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Sarah will tell you, we talk about being sitting right here. We talk about that is athletics. If you can't be positive with yourself, if you have those negative thoughts within yourself, they're gonna come to the top. They're going to rise to the top when it's really time to really put everything out there that you have. If you've got those little bit of negative things in that brain, they're going to come to the top at certain times. And that's athletic progression. You have to learn how to deal with those and eliminate those as you get older and more responsible for your actions.
Let's talk about some other growth out there, because I know we talked about Brandon not qualifying last year, but Lamar Diston as well, though. She's somebody who has grown quite a bit from last year's indoor.
Yeah, Lamara is one, once again, anybody in this group, I could probably say about the same thing about them. Lamara didn't have a great year last year. Now all of a sudden she's leading the country. That she had a great outdoor season last year. She didn't win it, but she goes into the national championships this year indoors as the top qualifier and has an opportunity to win indoors. So just like Brandon, they both have an opportunity to win. So she continues to. Sean Brady is works with her directly, and Coach Brady's just done a great job. Everybody's got their little this and that about themselves, and Sean does a good job of finding those things within each of our athletes. And Lamara is one that he knows how to push certain buttons with her to get her ready to go.
You look at like him and Blake Smith next to him. Blake Smith is a thicker, more of like a wider, sturdier base type of guy. But that could be Jimbo still hasn't had the tandem of tight ends that we thought he would have. When he was at Florida State, he had that. It was O'Leary, and I forget the other guy's name. O'Leary won the Mackey, and then he had Jace right away, and he had committed Cup and Weidemeyer, and you thought you were going to have that combination. Mm-hmm. Well, Jace was a one and done, surprisingly, probably left a little prematurely. And then you had Weidemeyer, and you thought you were going to have Weidemeyer and Cup. Well, then Baylor suffered the 2 season-ending injuries, and then this past year was just literally just getting back into playing football. So you really didn't have both of them. So he hasn't had that ability, really, even without a mauling blocker. It'd been one thing even if you could have a mauling blocker to go with the pass catcher, but I think this will be the first year, and I don't know how that combination is going to play out. Baylor Cup's going to certainly factor into that. I think this is the first year he might be able to put 2 really good ones on the field. And even if it's one of them's just a lot better as a pass catching weapon and the other one's a lot better at blocking, he hasn't really even been able to do that yet in 4 years here. We're going into year 5. Now looking ahead, I think they absolutely are going to be able to do that. You look at how Donovan Green blocks. You look at the size of Theo. And then you look at the way both those guys move and can catch at their size, and then you see a guy like Jake Johnson.
Did he also look huge to you?
Not huge, tall,
yeah.
And he's going to be he's going to be he is going to be prototypical, exactly what you want, like catching the football, able to block, because he's a guy that I've watched his tape. He really understands the game, angles, finding the football, running routes, setting defenders up. I think he's as promising a tight end as I've seen Jimbo sign, and that's saying something because there's been some good ones. He's kind of like got a little of that Jace to him in terms of awareness, route running, and all that, but he's a lot taller and longer. He's got to be 6'5" with length, long arms. He can catch. Like, I think he's going to be something pretty special.
You always try to sneak out before telling people. They don't know what to do. They watch the end of the video like, what do I do? What do I do now? And they always ask for somebody to help them.
And that's where I come in.
That's where you come in.
Oh, hit the like button, subscribe, tell your friends about it, sign up, get a subscription to TexAgs if you don't. We got some great things in the work, not only this off season, but going into the fall. Stacked. Feel free to donate to Stacked. Even if you don't, we're going to put out a ton of incredible content through that. I heard Kennedy Smith is just killing it. I didn't hear. I've watched her content. She's getting guests right and left. This thing's been incredible where we're going with it. And this YouTube channel is a part of it. So smash the like button, watch the show, talk about it, tell your friends. Pass it around social media too if you want.
That's the best you've done at this. That was
We've said that twice in a row, so clearly
you're raising the bar.
Elevating.
Yeah, this is really good.
I like your waffle knit hoodie today, your tan waffle knit hoodie.
Well, I'm going to tell you what Dalton told me off the air.
I heard it was not that good.
It was funny. Made me laugh. All right.
What are you gonna? I mean, I don't understand comparing your hoodie to a Trojan condom. It makes no sense.
I wasn't going to say it.
Oh, he said that off the air.
Off the air.
Well,
yeah.
There we go. It still makes no sense, and it's Dalton, so therefore it does make sense.
And we're going to end on that.
Mine's ribbed too, Nuno.
Yes,
or
it
waffled.
Is. Well, it's a uniform for TexAgs Rewind. Bye, guys.